Hello there, fellow fans of Hollow Knight, and Happy New Year! We made it! Finally! The year of Silksong! Okay, now that my first cope of 2024 is out there, we can move on to discussing why everyone, including myself, thinks we're getting Silksong news in February 2024. And I still believe February, even though we're apparently getting an Xbox showcase this month which will supposedly feature a shadow drop. The showcase isn't confirmed through official channels, but the person who leaked this has been right about previous events, so I'll keep you updated on that one. To set expectations, this is not a news video, and this is going to be aimed at the gamers looking forward to Silksong who don't keep up with all things Hollow Knight, and don't understand the importance of February for the series. If you want to skip the detailed timeline I'm about to give you, I'll include timestamps for you to do so. Okay, let's run ourselves back to the 19th of November 2014, a very special date in Hollow Knight history marking the beginning of the Kickstarter that made it all happen. It ran for 1 month, ending on the 19th of December, and raised just shy of 59,000 Australian dollars, and that amount allowed them to hit the stretch goal for the original playable Hornet DLC, but we'll get to that in a bit. Between the Kickstarter and release, Team Cherry provided regular updates to backers as this is required by the platform. Well, technically it's not mandatory, but Kickstarter sets an expectation of 1 update per month if you haven't fulfilled all the rewards. And if you don't keep up, Kickstarter will actually allow backers to send update requests anonymously. We've all seen how passionate the community can be, so I understand wanting to avoid opening up their inbox to anonymous demands. Kickstarter will also step in and reach out directly if they feel like creators aren't posting frequently enough. The game released for Windows on the 24th of February 2017, just 2 weeks after the release date was announced, along with the release trailer on the 10th of February. This is why many fans haven't ruled out a shadow drop for Silksong, and honestly, shadow drop sounds like the most fun way to announce any video game, and feels pretty on brand for the team. You know, not wanting to drag it out in favour of maximising potential pre-orders, they just want to drop it when it's ready. Hollow Knight then released on Linux and macOS on the 11th of April, Nintendo Switch in the following year on the 12th of June, then later PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on the 25th of September. The Nintendo Switch release was originally supposed to be a Wii U version, which they started developing in 2016, and Team Cherry hired help from Shark Jump Studios to get it ready for the Switch instead. Adapting games for the Nintendo Switch is not the easiest task. They have hardware limitations to consider, a unique software ecosystem you have to accommodate, and you'll need to carry out additional user experience testing to ensure the experience is just as smooth and enjoyable as the other versions. Not related to the Switch, but I still have flashbacks of how janky settlement building in Fallout 4 was for the PC on release, and I'd love to discuss UX with the team who did that at some point in my life. Anyway, all this waffle about the Switch port is because I want to highlight that the release date for this version was announced at the Nintendo Direct presentation at E3, rest in peace, on the 12th of June 2018. It was announced and made available that same day. I'm sensing a theme here. Following release, Team Cherry pushed out regular updates as well as 4 free content packs or DLCs. The first being Hidden Dreams on the 3rd of August 2017, The Grim Troop on the 26th of October 2017, Lifeblood on the 20th of April 2017, and then Godmaster on the 23rd of August 2018. Moving on up to the 11th of February 2019, Team Cherry posted on their blog to let fans know that there'll be a big update for the Hornet DLC coming 3 days later. And that playable Hornet DLC didn't end up releasing because on the 14th of February, a lovely gift from Team Cherry to us on Valentine's Day, it was announced that the DLC would become its own separate game called Hollow Knight Silksong. This announcement also came with a reveal trailer, lengthy blog update, and a 20-minute vlog with Arian Williams sharing details about the game. 4 months later, in June, us non-E3 attending peasants got to witness a 20-minute demo via Nintendo Treehouse, and there's a lucky few who got to play it for themselves at a booth at the event. Team Cherry followed up with some blog posts to cover a late anniversary celebration and post-E3 wrap. Then, on the 13th of December, Team Cherry posted their 2019 holiday sign-off, which included Silksong development progress and teased samples of Christopher Larkin's new tracks for the game, which were also posted on Christopher Larkin's YouTube on the same day. Little did we know that this would be their last post for over 4 years, and it remains their last post to this day. A few months later, the world shuts down and humanity is at the mercy of a global health emergency in the form of a virus called COVID-19. This isn't a video about the pandemic, and I'm sure you're already aware of its effects. Team Cherry have previously stated that they were able to proceed with development work, but that doesn't mean that they weren't under increased levels of stress, or had other responsibilities that took priority, or that the businesses they interact with weren't affected. Remember, they have playtesters, a composer, voice actors, and relationships with companies like Microsoft, Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, and so forth. The year 2020 was largely silent aside from Leth, the marketing and and publishing guy for Silksong, releasing a few fun riddles into the community Discord that revealed 4 new NPCs. Huntress, a towering old predator awaiting her children to come, Grindle, a snitchbug burglar who will happily take payment in exchange for important information, Caravan, a tribe of cute fleas scattered across the kingdom, and Seth, an NPC made by Seth Goldman, a fan who sadly lost his fight with cancer. I hope he rests in peace, and if there is a heaven, he's playing Silksong as we speak. February 2021 was when we got the Silksong feature in Edge magazine, which I covered in another video. In February 2022, William confirmed in an article for PC Gamer that the game was still in development and that more details would be revealed as we got closer to release. Then came the biggest update we received since before COVID. A new trailer was revealed at the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase in June 2022, along with confirmation that the game would be included day one on Game Pass, and that it would be released within the next 12 months. Xbox even doubled down on Twitter, which made everyone think that the 12th of June 2023 was the latest possible release date. And I firmly believe that Xbox genuinely thought it was releasing within the next 12 months when they did all this, by the way. Anyway, this sent the already ravenous fanbase into a frenzy, and we thought for the first time we had a release window. To add fuel to the fire, in September, PlayStation also confirmed that Silksong would be releasing on PS4 and PS5. Silksong is officially coming to all major modern consoles. Everyone was pretty excited and full of hope until the 10th of May 2023, when the unthinkable happened. Leth announced that Silksong would not be coming in the first half of 2023 as they had originally planned. With no further updates or release window to go on, we've been patiently, and some impatiently, waiting in the dark. Why Team Cherry didn't post the update on their own Twitter is still unknown, and I would make a joke about losing the password, but it has been active since the announcement. I suspect it's literally as simple as what they said in Edge magazine, they're just not social media users. Other notable events in 2023 that I have detailed videos on include the Silksong website going down because they hadn't renewed it in time, playtester and Discord user Greg going viral after saying Silksong is a glorious game worth the wait, Team Cherry filing 2 new trademarks for Fearless Fox, which is expected to be their next title after Silksong, Leth getting interviewed by community member and speedrunner Blue, who again confirms the game is still actively being worked on, and also there are going to be rocks in it. It's also well worth watching the interview, by the way. We did get a much better insight into what Leth does for Team Cherry. And then the attention was on Greg again after he ranted in the Discord in December and then apologised later on. I actually didn't make a video about this purely because he was clearly venting out of frustration. Like, we're all human, it happens. He also made some claims that I don't want to give any further attention to. The important part is we know that he doesn't represent Team Cherry, he's been invited to playtest for them in the past, but that's it. So, what we know so far is that playable Hornet would have never been feasible in Hollow Knight. We have been told time and time again that Hornet presents new challenges due to her larger size and acrobatic moveset, which wouldn't work in Hallownest, which was created around the Knight. Team Cherry is a very small team, that is their preference. You may argue that they know what they're doing now, so certain things might be easier after developing Hollow Knight, but there are also lots of new things that they've not had to consider in the past, so it's not quite that simple. Silksong was announced 6 months after the last DLC for Hollow Knight, and within 10 months of the DLC, they at least had enough worked on for a 20-minute demo. Clearly they had been all aboard Silksong following Godmaster. We also know that it took at least 2 years and 3 months to develop and release Hollow Knight on PC, and I need to emphasise the at least part because we know they already had a solid portion of the concept prepared for the Kickstarter. And in total, looking at the timeline, it took less than 3 years to develop and release Hollow Knight plus its DLCs to all supported consoles. However, Hollow Knight was a lot simpler development-wise, and I'm not trying to offend, they quite literally said they decided to keep it simple, and spoke about how sophisticated the enemies are going to be in Silksong to keep up with Hornet. Silksong is also expected to release on all platforms on launch, so all that extra playtesting on a more complex game with more variables and additional enemies needs to happen in advance. Basically, I'm trying to say that it'd be unfair of us to expect Silksong to have been developed in a similar amount of time as Hollow Knight, because it's simply a bigger, more complex game. Or so we've been told. We've also heard multiple times from different people that we'll hear more about the game as we get closer to release, which makes me feel like it won't be shadow dropped, but I'm not ruling that out entirely. Back to the main question. Why do I think we'll get an update next month? First of all, it seems to be the month when we get the biggest announcements. Hollow Knight was both revealed and launched in February, Silksong was announced in February. Secondly, this February is the 5-year anniversary of that Silksong announcement. Previously, I believed Silksong not coming in the first half of 2023 meant second half of 2023. However, it makes much more sense for news to coincide with a big anniversary like that. It's also going to be the 7th year anniversary of Hollow Knight. Thirdly, do you remember the huge GeForce Now leak a few years back that contained release information about a ton of highly anticipated and even not yet announced games, which was confirmed by Nvidia as the list they use for internal tracking and testing? In the 3-ish years since, we've learnt that nearly 45 games were accurately predicted. As with all leaks, take any information you learn with a grain of salt, but I thought it was worth a reminder that Silksong was on the list to release on the 1st of February 2022. If, and it's a big if, the list was actually credible, then maybe that was the original release window. The reason I'm mentioning this is purely because of how many entries were accurate. Remember, not all of them were. And the 1st of February, the 1st? That's got placeholder written all over it. If Team Cherry did provide that placeholder, they must have stuck to February for a reason. Fourthly, which doesn't feel like a word, but apparently it is, the next Steam Next Fest is scheduled for February. Next Fest is a special event that happens 3 times a year, where fans can try out demos, chat with developers, watch live streams, and learn about upcoming games on Steam. For developers, Steam Next Fest is an opportunity to get early feedback from players and build an audience for a future launch on Steam. It is always better to launch on Steam outside of events like this, which is why I don't think we'll get an announcement and a shadow drop. But hey, maybe Team Cherry are planning something special for Next Fest. Never say never, and that would actually be pretty cool. Fifthly, marketing costs are cheaper in the first few months of the year. Lots of indie games make use of that. Though Hollow Knight was incredibly successful financially, and I'm sure Silksong would be a success even if their only form of marketing was a few self-published blog posts, but there's a lot more attention on the game and anticipation this time round. They also have the attention of big companies like Xbox and Nintendo, and there might be some extra pressure to market in a specific way. For example, I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox contributed heavily towards their marketing strategy to ensure Day 1 on Game Pass was plastered everywhere alongside marketing materials. And finally, it's the big reason, it's what I asked for from Santa for Christmas, so really it's gotta be February. He'd never let me down. That's it for this one. Thank you for listening today. Let me know when you think we'll be getting an update in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.